Welcome to The Explainer. You know, we've all had those moments where life just feels off, not okay, like everything's kind of splitting at the seams. But what if that feeling, that chaos, isn't the enemy? Today we're diving into a really powerful idea, that this feeling is actually a signal. It's a call to look a little closer and understand what's really going on inside all that personal chaos.
This right here, this single idea is the bedrock for everything we're going to talk about today. It's asking us to completely reframe a feeling we usually try to run away from. So instead of seeing that dissonance as some kind of failure or something you have to silence, what if we actually learn to listen to it? It's not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a call to action.
All right, so how do we even start to listen? Well, the first step is to really understand the nature of the signal itself. This whole first part is about recognizing that what feels like a personal attack is actually a revelation.
You know that feeling when chaos hits? It feels like an ambush, like the sound of breaking glass. It's sudden, it's sharp, and it feels like it came out of absolutely nowhere. But is it really that sudden? The truth is, that big chaotic feeling is often just the final straw, the result of a bunch of smaller, hairline fractures that we've been ignoring for a while.
And this changes everything. Chaos isn't some malicious force out to get you. Think of it more like an impartial mirror. It doesn't judge you and doesn't have an opinion. It just reflects back the parts of your life that have drifted out of alignment. It forces you to finally look at the things you've left unresolved. So those moments that feel like you're breaking, the things that feel like an ending, are actually the starting line for transformation. A fracture isn't just damage, it's an opening. It's a way for something new to get in. And that tension you feel, it's not just strain, it's the raw material you can use to build a bridge to somewhere new. Okay, so after chaos shows us the cracks, it can leave behind this feeling of emptiness. And that brings us to the next stage of the journey. Facing that inner void and learning to see it not as a pit you fall into, but as a doorway you have to walk through.
We usually think of a void as nothing, right? Empty space, an absence of something. But the idea here is that it's actually a heavy presence. It's filled with all our unspoken fears, all our unanswered questions. So it's not a pit to get lost in, but a threshold we have to consciously decide to cross.
And this is the question the void is asking you. It's not demanding you fix everything right now. It's not looking for a quick and easy answer. It's simply asking you to pause, to listen, and to just reflect on what lessons might be hiding inside that discomfort itself. So how do we actually do that? Well, it starts with this pretty courageous process of just naming the shadows. It's not about judging what you find or trying to justify your fears or regrets. It's about simply acknowledging them, looking them in the eye and saying, okay, I see you. I hear you. That act alone starts to take away their power. Now, this whole journey, it isn't just an internal thing. Our inner world is constantly being bombarded by the world around us. So this next part is all about exploring the static of modern life and the kind of paralysis it can create in all of us.
Does this list feel at all familiar? We're living in this relentless, endless stream of input. Notifications, headlines, responsibilities. It never stops. And it's more than just noise, it's static. It shatters our attention into a million pieces. It creates this false sense of urgency about everything, and ultimately, it just disconnects us from ourselves.
All that static, and just the sheer number of choices we have to make every day, it can lead to total paralysis. You feel stuck. And it's not really that you can't decide, it's that the weight of all the options and the fear of making the wrong choice becomes so massive that doing nothing feels safer than doing anything at all. And this weight, it shows up differently across a lifetime. For younger people, there's this disaffection, of inheriting a world that already feels kind of broken and full of contradictions. For older folks, it can be more of a pessimism that comes from disappointment, a feeling that the window of possibility is starting to close. Both are really profound kinds of dissonance. Okay, so we've looked at the chaos, we've navigated the void, and we've felt the weight of the world. So, what now? What do we do with all this? This brings us to the final and most powerful stage,
the alchemy of dissonance.
This is really the heart of it. Alchemy was this ancient art of trying to turn lead into gold. Well, this is the same idea. It's about learning how to take the lead of our struggles, the tension, the conflict, the chaos, and transform it into the gold of understanding, of clarity and real, genuine alignment. So this whole alchemical process, it starts by understanding our default setting. When we feel that tension, our first instinct is just to react. It's a reflex, right? We lash out, we shrink back, we numb out. But that immediate reflexive reaction is often the very thing that makes the chaos even worse. But what if we don't react? What if we just pause? By choosing to pause, even for a split second, you create this tiny little space between the feeling and your action. And in that space, you shift from reflex to reflection. And that space, that's where your agency lives. That's where you take back the power to choose. So this whole process of turning lead into gold, you can break it down into 3 simple, intentional steps. First, you just acknowledge the tension. You face it. No running, no denying. Second, you reflect on its meaning. You ask, what is this trying to teach me? And only then, third, do you act. And you act not from that knee-jerk reflex, but from a place of real intention.
This brings us to a really important realization about the goal here. The goal isn't a life that's magically free of problems. That's just not possible. Real harmony isn't the absence of chaos. It's not some sterile, quiet life. It's the integration of chaos, where all your fractures and tensions become part of a stronger, more dynamic, more complete whole.
And this leaves us with one final essential way to reframe all this. The things we've been taught to see as our flaws, the cracks, the scars, the evidence of all our struggles, they are not signs of weakness. They are proof of your journey. They're evidence that you have faced dissonance, that you have grown, and that you are, in fact, incredibly resilient.
And so we'll leave you with this final thought. This whole process of turning not okay into something that feels okay, it's ongoing. The dissonance in your life, it may never go away completely because it's part of the music of being human. The song isn't finished. In fact, it's playing right now. The only question left is, are you listening?